Hey, hey, hey. So, do you have an emergency fund, or if something happens, you just pull from your savings? Let's talk about it. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. If you've been here before, welcome back. If it's your first time, Talk Tuesday is our weekly segment where we go over tips to help you enhance your finances. I'm Coach T, your financial coach, and I want to help you to reach and exceed your financial goals while still enjoying life in the process. Today, we're going to talk about emergency funds and why they give you peace of mind, why they are different from general savings accounts. And right now, we should be streaming in 3 different places. I got an alert just a second ago, so that's why I was looking around, saying that one of the locations is not streaming. So something's going on there. But if you are seeing it, if you can let me know where you're seeing it, so I know, if that area is affected or not. So I don't know what's going on, but this is the first time I ever had a message like that pop up. But I'm going to keep going as for the people who are seeing me. I don't want to delay the message and what we're talking about and hold you longer and all those things. But I hope you're having a great day. And today we're going to talk about emergency funds. So let me know in the comments, do you have an emergency fund, or do you have a savings account, or do you have both? So let me know in the comments. So let's talk about emergency funds. So emergency funds are, hey. Okay, YouTube's here with me. Yay. All right. And I'm talking about, let me know in the comments. I didn't have the comments showing. Hi. So, all right. So let's talk about emergency funds. So savings account. All right. Savings account. Someone else, let me know. Let me know. Savings account and emergency fund, both. Only emergency fund, only a savings account. Let's talk about it both. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Why do we need an emergency fund? Both. Okay. Okay. Show offs. Both. But we need an emergency fund because emergencies happen to everyone. And we know we're not, excluded from an emergency, but we just don't know when an emergency might happen. And I know, I've been talking about the fire lately, but that's my life. That's what happens. So that was an emergency that happened for us. So having an emergency fund was able to help us ping, because you can't prepare for a fire. We can prepare for things like needing a new furnace or something with your car, or things like that. But it's good to be as prepared as you can. Having an emergency fund definitely will save you from stress. You know, if you don't have an emergency fund, what are you more likely to use? Right? If you don't have an emergency fund and something happens, you're going to use your credit card. And that's if you have space on your credit card. So you're going to end up paying more for that emergency than you could have if you were prepared. So if you don't have an emergency fund, I definitely would highly recommend it. It's not about how much you have in there. It's about, having the ability to go over there and get that money if you needed it. If something were to happen, that would definitely help you to not be as stressed if something happens. So let's say, well, we're not going to cover incidents, but just saying, if you had an emergency fund and something happened, you're going to be like, whew, I'm so glad I had that emergency fund. I'm so glad I was able to just go grab that out of that bank. The worst you might have is, okay, maybe I can't pull that much out of that bank at one time, and I have to go to the bank at a different, the next day or something like that. That could be a small problem depending on what the emergency is. But rather being able to actually be able to go and get that versus not having it, like, oh, I got to use my credit card. Oh, they're going to charge me this much interest. I'm not going to be able to pay it back, because I'm still have my regular bills that I'm paying. I can't afford to pay more, so I'm going to pay the minimum on it. And, so then that just runs you into a whole bunch of other things. So it's very important for you to have it. Give yourself those options that you might need. We have it because we learn from the best. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, having a 911 fund is essential because that's correct. I like that's cute, a 911 fund. I love it. That's so cute. Yeah, so we do need it. So, why will we need it? I already told you about, if your car were to break down, just think about that. If your car broke down and it was something you need to fix right away. something you can't do without. Let's say for me, I was over, what did you say, maybe 2 months ago, I was over a friend's house for a cookout. And I had a couple things planned that day, but I couldn't go to the next thing because when I went out to the car to go to the next place, my battery had died in my car. What? So that's something that, if that's an emergency, that I have to get done right away. Or else, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? So, luckily I had AAA to come out. I mean, it took over an hour, but I had the emergency fund to be able to cover that. And AAA might not have been the cheapest, probably if I could have got somewhere and got it, but here or there. But having the emergency fund, when that happened, I was able to say, okay, let's get it, let's get it. Now, as long as it took, after that, everybody was worn out, we were hot, we were sweating, we didn't have no air in the car. So, it was a lot going on. But, having the emergency fund, we were able to get the new battery in the car and get home safely. So that's something to definitely think about. Things happen with your car. Something could happen in your home. Maybe your furnace could go out. Depending on what time of the year it is, it will be how important it might be for you to get it fixed immediately to determine how much of an emergency it is for you. By being prepared for it, you can get a new one. Let's say, if it wasn't, as much of an emergency, but, you want to get it, right? So having the emergency funding, go ahead and get that. Go ahead and handle that. It could be, something happened to you medically. Things happen too. You might fall down, you might scrape your arm, you might anything could happen, right? So now you have to go to the doctors. Or what if you fell down and chipped a tooth? You had to go to the dentist. You had to pay for these things. That's something you didn't expect. So that is something that the emergency fund could save you from. That could be something that, what if they gave you a prescription? Now you got to pay for that too. So that's why it's important to have an emergency fund, because different things come and go, different things happen. So having that emergency fund could help you from things that, just out of nowhere that you didn't expect that caused that emergency. So what about if you're working? Recently some federal employees were, I don't want to say dismissed. I don't know the correct wording, but they lost their job. That's something we need an emergency fund, right? Or what if you lost your hours? You were getting 80 hours per pay, now you're getting 60. Or you're even down to 40. That's an emergency, something you can't plan for. You need to be prepared for it. You need to have money aside for something like that. Hold on, car inspection, that costs more than you plan for. Yes, car inspection is a good one too to be prepared for, because you can go get your car inspected. That could be like $100 just to get it inspected, get your stickers and things like that. And that's here in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure about other states. But in Pennsylvania, you go get your car inspected. You have to get your stickers. But what if you get it inspected and then they say, oh, you need tires, $800, so that's an extra bill. That's an extra bill. So having an emergency fund will help you to be prepared for that too, because without having those up-to-date stickers, you cannot drive your car. Or if you do drive it, you risk getting pulled over and getting a ticket. So yeah, so that's why it's important to have that emergency fund. But, different things happen that, could cause you an emergency. So that's why it's good to be prepared for an emergency, to be able to handle things in that event. A way that you can decide is like, I'm someone who I need to get emergency fund now. I need to start building my emergency fund. It could be someone who, if you miss one paycheck, it's going to throw everything off for you. You're done. You're done. And that's a lot of people. Although some people like to act like that's not me. No, that's not me. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. No, it happens. Sometimes, things happen and we get in that situation. So if you're someone who's in that situation, you should start putting money into an emergency fund, not just a savings account, an emergency fund. Okay, think about that. What else do I want to say? Let's go over. I have some 5 things I wanted to say that you should know about an emergency fund. So let's talk about those. Emergency fund I have on here. It is not extra money. All right. So no, it's not extra money. That is to be saved, to be prepared on the ready for an emergency. Not just I wanted to go to the concert this weekend. Let me go and dip into my emergency. Let me dip into my emergency fund. No, that's different. That's why you should have your emergency fund and your savings account, right? So your Mercy Fund is just that for emergencies only. Your savings account or things you're saving for, which could be, going on vacation, going to that concert, going out to that restaurant that costs so much, but you just love it and you got to go, right? It could be for your savings account, could be for things like, your home, your wedding, graduation, prom, like things that are coming that you can prepare for. The holidays. Your savings account could be for that, preparing for that, putting money aside. I'm going to the first video will go out tonight of my 30. I think I told you guys last week. If not, then I'm sure I told you guys last week. I'm going to be doing 30 days of videos. So I'm going to start tonight. So get ready to hold me accountable. Now, I'm not going to post and say video 1, video 2, but I'm going to get started. All right. But yes, it's not extra money. So have that in a separate account that I'm not going to say hard to reach, because in emergency, you need it to be available to you. Yes. It helps you to avoid credit cards. And I said that earlier, but that's a good thing about a Mercy Fund. If there was an emergency, your first thought would be to grab that credit card, because I can use that because it's available to me. But if you can grab from your savings account, then you're going to save money from the interest, unless you have a card that has like 0 interest, which is usually an introductory fee. And if that's the case, then you just want to be sure that you pay it off before the introductory fee ends, or they're going to throw all the interest off for the whole time that you had that on there during that period. So be mindful of that too. Very dangerous, very risky, but we're not talking about that right now. We're not talking about debt today, but be mindful of that. I have on here to know that emergency fund is definitely going to bring you confidence, because if something were to happen, you can confidently say like, oh, I'm all right. I can just go to my Mercy Fund. I can just grab it from my Mercy Fund, like just with my battery. Oh, I can just, go to my Mercy Fund. Or if a tire is a good one to always say, because things happen. That happened to me, maybe like, I had a lot of car stuff, huh? I didn't even think about it, so I'm talking about it. But it was one day I was coming home from work, and my tire just started going. So my car will say like I'm at 40, then it went down to not 40. I think our tires are supposed to be at 35. But anyway, it went down to like 33, then 32, then it was at 27, then it was at 24, and it just kept going down, and it was going down so fast. I was getting so scared. I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm scared, because it was going so fast. I'm like, I don't know what happened. I don't know, what's going on with my tires, but my numbers, it just was going down. So by the time I got home and parked the car, it was down to 6. Once again, AAA had to save me, but they saved me. I got a new battery, but a new tire. Well, no, they gave me they put my spare on, and then I went and got a new tire. But here or there, being able to afford it to go and get a replacement tire the next day, that's something that is beneficial to my Mercy Fund. I didn't have the stress of how am I going to get this handled? I'm going to have to drive around with this donut. I'm going to have to drive, I think it's like 30 miles or 35 miles an hour on this donut. Like the stress I didn't have to worry about. Me and my son can ride around safely. I have the proper tires on my vehicle to go whatever speed I need to. But, it gives you that, I can just go to my Mercy Fund and just handle business, do what I have to do. Another thing I have a point on here for your Mercy Fund, keep in mind that you don't have to take your paycheck and put $500 in your Mercy Fund. Take time to build your Mercy Fund. Just like I always talk about building your savings account, you should also be building your Mercy Fund, because of course we don't know when emergency is happening or going to happen. So, we're taking baby steps to be prepared for when it does happen. So, or if it happens. So, build your Mercy Fund. Take time and, do it in smaller increments. By starting immediately, you're able to take smaller amounts and just put it in there, versus like, I'm going to have to put 500 in, or I'm going to have to put, no. Just take your time, put it in there. And then let's say emergency happens before you get to your goal number, because I would definitely say set a goal amount that you want to get to for your emergency fund. But if something were to happen before, then at least you've gotten started. You have a bit of an emergency fund. You have something to help you with if something were to happen, so start with that. Definitely let me know in the comments. Are you starting your Mercy Fund if you don't have one already? And if you do have one, did you set your amount that you want to go to? Are you at that amount, or do you have the Mercy Fund and you've got $100 in there? Okay, because if it's $100, I'm gonna need you to build that thing up a little more. So let me know. And let me see if there are any more. Well, I've got a couple things on here. Is there any more I wanted to start talking about? Nah. Yeah, the last thing I had on here was something I've already talked about, was how it's separate from your vacation. And that's something I already spoke about. So I don't want to, go on and on about it, but it's separate. Your Mercy Fund is here, your savings account here. Your Mercy Fund, your vacation is for your vacation, your Mercy for your Mercy. Yep, but that's all I have for you guys today. I thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely let me know in the comments if you're watching a replay or if you're watching live. I have a Mercy Fund. I'm going to start my Mercy Fund. My Mercy Fund goal amount is, let me know these things. Let's talk about it. So, we're being held accountable, putting it out there. Put it out there. Let me know what you're going to do with it. When we talk about Mercy Funds, it's not just about savings. And that was the title of today's live. A Mercy Fund is your peace of mind. It's not just a savings account. And that's where we get kind of confused. Watching live, woo, woo, woo. Thank you. Yeah, right. So just get prepared with your Mercy Fund. Be prepared. Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube. We go live, and I'm always trying to give you different things, different ideas to help you truly enhance your finances, like the name of my business. So I hope this helps you. I hope you go and get your Mercy Fund or start your Mercy Fund so you can be prepared in the event that something were to happen. Okay. All right. I'll see you next week at 6 p.m. right here. See you later. Have a good night.